Hey everybody, Manny Talaberry here now, and we're now on day 49 of the seven-figure climb. And what I want to do here is I just want to give you all some observations on strategy sessions. I'm going to go through my strategy session questions with you. But before I go over the strategy session questions, I want you all to understand kind of my modus operandi, what I'm trying to do when I get someone on a call or on a Zoom platform and have a conversation with them. My goal is simply to look for underutilized marketing assets, look for holes in their process that we could improve on. That's what I'm doing as a marketing coach, as a marketing consultant. What I'm trying to do is find someone and help them to scale, help them to take the thing to the next level. So we're looking for things that they're not doing, they should be doing, things that are things that they're doing that they shouldn't be doing. So are there too many steps in the process? And the bottom line is, in a vacuum, no one ever gets it all perfect. So within reason, anyone can find some hidden money if they learn how to ask the right questions. Now, I'm going to go over some of this with you all, but what I want you to also get is that this is not a questionnaire. I'm not just going through questions and asking questions. I'm asking questions, and from their answer, there may be three follow-up questions based on what they tell me. It's a lot more of a conversation than just a bunch of questions. Now, what's gonna be interesting about this is it's going to seem like I'm just asking a bunch of random questions, but I'm not. It is an actual conversation. And so another thing, and we're going to cover this again because I think it's extremely important. I'm talking to people who have raised their hand and expressed an interest in having a conversation. I'm not sending cold DMs to people. I'm not begging people to get on a call with me. I only want to speak with people who are in pain and want help. The problem with chasing people, the problem with reaching out and doing a lot of cold calling and all of that is that you can certainly find people who could use your help, but it's, first of all, it's very, very, very bad positioning. And second of all, you're people are very, very apprehensive. They haven't, even if you express that you can help them, they don't necessarily want your help. And so, like, people only go to the doctor when they're sick. Doctors don't make house calls. Doctors don't run around looking for sick people. And so if you do this right, you will do really, really well. If you do this wrong, you will struggle and you will have a lot of missed calls. People will schedule with you and then they won't jump on a call. One of the biggest things we talk about, and like I said, I can tell you, we're going to cover all of this in another video as well, that people book a bunch of strategy sessions and then no one is showing up on the calls. And when I hear that, I know either A, they're chasing prospects and begging people to get on a call. Because I'll tell you now, people will tell you anything to get you off the phone or get rid of you. So they'll pretend they're interested, they'll schedule a call, but then they'll never show up. They're either A, chasing people, or they are not solving a big enough problem in the marketplace, or they're not talking to people who really want to solve the problem. And so you just got to get that when I'm doing this, I'm talking to people who have raised their hand and expressed an interest in speaking to me. Now, I'm a marketing coach. I'm a marketing consultant. I work with small business owners. And so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take them through a process. My first question is going to be, um, how, when did you start this business? How long have you been in business? Second question is generally going to be, how many people have you sold to since starting the business? So how many buyers do you have? And what I'm looking for there is a buyers list. And so we're going to find out how long they've been in business, how many people have bought from them. And my next question is going to be, when you sell to someone, how soon do you sell to them again? Is it 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, 120 days? How soon do they buy again? So we're looking for repeat customers. We're looking to see if there's a process where they have people buying over and over again. So that's the third question. Then the question after that is going to probably, and like I said, a lot of times when I'm asking these questions, they're giving me answers, and I'm going to follow up with a lot of insights and information, because I'm not just asking a bunch of questions. I am telling them how to fix things along the way. I'm telling them where their leaks are as I'm talking to them, and I'm not holding anything back. And so I do want you to get that. So the strategy sessions are really, really valuable, even if they don't move forward and work with me, because we're helping them along the way. We're giving them some insights. So after I ask, how soon do they buy again? My next question is generally going to be, is there a formal follow-up system in place once someone buys from you? How soon are you contacting them to thank them for the first purchase or thank them for buying? Because a lot of times in the follow-up process, you will sell to them a second or third time. So when someone buys from you, how soon do you contact them? Is it 24 hours, 48 hours, 72 hours to say, hey, I appreciate your purchasing from us. I want to thank you for your purchase. And are you doing that over the phone? Are you doing that with email? Are you doing that with letters? Because if you're doing it with email, huge mistake, right? Because they're not reading the email. So you got to send an actual letter or a postcard, or you're way better to get them on the phone. I think that's even better, but you just really want to have that follow-up process in place. And so we've asked them how many people have bought. And my next question is going to be, if you talk to 100 people, how many people buy from you? And what I'm getting here is, what is their close rate when they have a conversation with someone? And let's say they have a 10% close rate. So they speak with 100 people and 10 people buy. This is extremely valuable, and about no one ever asks this next question. So you speak to 100 people and you sell to 10 of them. What do you do with the 90 people that you did not speak to? What is the follow-up process for re-engaging with those people to figure out how we can sell them at a later date if we couldn't sell them now? Because what happens is, a lot of people, what they do is they get a bunch of people on the phone and they close a small percentage of those people, and they never follow up with the people that don't buy. The money is in the follow-up. There's probably more money in the people who didn't buy than the people who bought, if a person will choose to go and look there. And then my next question is, do you know what the lifetime value of a customer is? So if someone comes in and buys from you, do you know how many more times they buy? And you know what the average transaction size is? And you know what that number is, what the value of that person is over a lifetime. Now, when we get lifetime value, we essentially know what a customer's worth to them. And when you know what a customer's worth, you know how much you can spend to acquire a new customer. Because if we know that this person's going to buy from us 8 times and they spend 1,000 every time, and we're making 500 every time they buy, we know the lifetime value of this buyer is technically $4,000. So we know if we spent 2,000 to get buyers, we would still make money. But you got to know all of that data. And the next questions are intuitive, like, what do you think's prevented you from growing? It's a very, very valuable question. People will give you all kinds of insights about personal relationships, about business partners who ran off with the money, about health issues that their family members or they've had. So what's really interesting, when you ask them that, they will give you a lot of valuable data, but it won't generally be because they don't know what to do. I mean, it won't be because of anything to do with the business. It will be externally outside circumstances that prevented them from growing. And that's a very, very valuable insight to have. And then the next question is a seeding question. And that question is, could you handle 20% to 100% more business in the next 3 months or 6 months or a year? And there are two reasons we're asking this. Number one, we're seeding in the fact we could help them to double their business in a very short time. And number two, can they handle the doubling of the business? And what's interesting is a lot of people don't do this. And what I have found is there are a lot of businesses out there where the owner is working 80 or 100 hours or 100 plus hours a week. They're full tilt, they're at full capacity. They don't have enough time or manpower to service the orders that they have. So they can't deal with any more buyers. And when you have a problem like that, what we have now is a average transaction size problem. So we can't add new people to the mix. So what we've got to do is figure out how to get more money from the people in the mix. Very simple. How can we upsell, cross-sell, and resell these people so that we make more money when they buy at the point of purchase? How can we increase the revenue from the people who are already in the pipeline if we can't add people to the pipeline? And then you can ask a few other follow-up questions like, you know, if we were to work together, how soon would you want to start? Are you ready? Are you ready for growth? Do you really want help in doing this? And then what's going to happen here? And I want to give you some points here that you might want to make a note of. These conversations can be anywhere from 30 to 90 minutes. And if you'll notice, I'm asking a metric ton of questions without bringing up my fees, what I charge, what I do, how I help people. None of that shows up for a very long time in the call. We don't just jump on a call with someone and talk to them for 3 minutes and ask for $5 or $10 or $20,000, which a lot of people do because I played prospect and I've talked to a lot of people. And a lot of people get on a call and they ask a few questions, and really they're just qualifying questions to see if a person can afford to buy. And if the person has the money, then they ask for the money. And I can tell you that that's not the way we run these. Now, if you're going to run them, and you're probably going to ask yourself, well, what do you do when people ask? Because you're going to have people who will do this. You'll get them on the call, and they'll say, you know, I'm really, really busy. Can you just tell me how much it costs? Right? Really busy, tell me how much it costs. And when people say that, what you have to be willing to say is, look, I understand where you're coming from, but I don't know if I can help you yet. So for me to determine if I can help you, I need to ask you some qualifying questions and find out where you're at in your business, what kind of problems you have, and if there are problems that I can help you with. And if there are problems I can help you with, I promise I will make you an offer. And if there are problems I can't help you with, I will tell you where you can go and get some of that help. And what's interesting is you'll have people keep interrupting you and you'll say, look, I'd love to give you a number, but I'm not going to give you a number if I don't know if I can help you. What I always say is prescription without diagnosis is malpractice, and I will tell clients that. It would be wrong for me to give you a number if I don't know that I can help you yet. I need to determine that. Now, what's going to happen? We're going to have a conversation. At the end of that conversation, one of the things that you will find if you do a lot of strategy sessions is that a lot of times, 30 seconds into the call, you find out that they're broke, that they're parking their car 3 blocks away because it's wanted for repossession and they don't want it stolen away from them, so they hide it. They're 3 months behind on their mortgage. They have a bunch of people living with them, and they're basically hand to mouth and they're in trouble, right? We're not probably going to get any money from these people. And the problem is that a lot of people will take that as a sign, we need to get this person off the phone. This person doesn't have the money. They can't possibly afford to hire me. So we need to just get rid of them. And my advice to you is it's the actual opposite of that. When you get someone on the phone who's struggling, in pain, needs help, wants help, but can't afford help, my deal is I would always, on every call, double down to help those people as much as possible, knowing that I'm probably not going to talk to them again. They're probably not going to give me any money. This is my only chance to deliver value to them. And if they can't buy from me, they can certainly be a good advocate for me. And what they can do is they can go out and tell everyone, how much I was willing to help them, because what happens is most people don't. Most people ask 3 questions, find out the person's broken, get them off the phone. And I've never done that. I've always felt that that was the wrong thing to do. Um, and I think it's a real problem. Now, what you need to keep in mind is a strategy session is a way for you to find people who are a good fit. And what I'm looking for is people who are a good fit, who I could work with and who I could help. That's what you want to do on the strategy session. You don't want to pre-qualify people unless you have, the reason you pre-qualify people is when you have too many calls. So when you don't have enough calls, you talk to everyone you can talk to. And when you have too many calls, that's when we start pre-qualifying people. Now, there are a number of ways we can pre-qualify them. The best way to pre-qualify them is tell them who you're for and who you're not for. I'm for people who are at this point in their space, what you're working on, what you're doing, and what your revenue is. And if you're not here, I can't help you. And another thing you can do is have them fill out a pre-strategy session questionnaire. And I do that. Now, this is the thing. When I first started out, I went from DM to call, and I would offer to help people, offer to get people on a call or Zoom on a Zoom call or a phone call, and they would send me a DM, and I would go from that DM right to a call. I'd say, go ahead and give me a call. No strategy session, no any of that, right? I mean, excuse me, no pre-strategy session questionnaire. Now I have a strategy session questionnaire in place, but not everyone fills it out. Some people still come in through DM, they send me a DM, and we just jump on a call. The pre-strategy session questionnaire can get a lot of the questions that I ask kind of pre-answered. You can kind of figure out where they're at in the process before getting them on the call, and it also speeds up the call. That's the benefit of it, but you don't have to use them. And like I said, what you don't want to do is, if you don't have enough deal flow, don't pre-qualify people. Just speak with everyone you can speak to and get really good at having the conversations. So how you want to look at it is this. It's very, very expensive to find leads, very expensive to get people to buy from you. So do you want to burn a lot of energy and money on leads that you're not going to close because you're no good at it? Or do you want to speak with a lot of people who are in some cases less qualified? And then once we get really, really good at this and we've got a lot of deal flow, then we can tighten it up and we can talk to fewer people, because you are going to be talking to people who aren't qualified to to work with you yet, and that's fine. But like I said, you can clean that up in your messaging. So you can say, hey, I work with small business owners. I help people go from 200,000 to 1 million, if that's what your pre-qualification is. Now, if you say, I help people go from 200,000 to 1 million, you're essentially saying, if you're not at 200,000 yet, you're not ready for me. That would be your messaging, see? And so you're not going to be talking to people who are startups, right? And so I talked to a lot of startups, many, many startups who they were in idea mode. They didn't have anything built yet, and they just wanted to have a conversation. And so I'm going to end out of this, and I promise you, we're going to give you some more insights on this. But I just wanted to kind of go over the questions, tell you how I set this up, and we will talk about getting them on the call or getting them into a Zoom conversation. We'll talk about that a lot more later on as we're going through this. But I'll see you on the next video, and thanks a lot.